Good morning, everyone present here.
Hello, Mom. Hello, Ms. Banerjee. How are you?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm fine. Thank you. Ma'am, can we begin the session?
Yes, sure. I'll need to share my screen. So would I have the access to?
Yes, ma'am. It's already there.
Okay. Just 1 second, please. It's saying host is disabled participant screen sharing.
I'll just confirm it, ma'am. I'll just confirm it.
Yeah. So meanwhile, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on how to choose the right career. So I'm sure I'm very excited to be here and talking to all of you, and I hope you all get to learn a lot. And let's make this session interactive as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
So let me begin. Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to the Augusto E-Career Fair 2020. The long-awaited event, which is about to prove that nothing can deter the spirit of St. Augustine's Day School, not even the COVID-19 pandemic. Career has always been a very important issue in all our lives. What to choose, what not to choose, increases our confusion. So to deal with it, we have with us Ms. Neena Mukherji, the career counselor of the day. Ms. Mukherji is a certified psychometric assessor and an NLP practitioner. She has worked as a career counselor and over the last few years has helped over 500 students to find courses and career options. Good morning, madam, and a hearty welcome to you. But before the session begins, let me tell you a few ground rules. Everybody should keep themselves in mute mode. After Ms. Mukherji finishes her speech, you all can put in your questions in the chat box. No one should unmute unless you are asked to do so. Don't worry, all your questions will be recognized. With that said, it's over to you, Ms. Mukherji.
Thank you, ma'am. So good morning again, all of you. I'm just going to share my screen. So are you able to see my screen, ma'am? and everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, this workshop is about choosing the right career path. How do you do that? I'll start with this quote: choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life. Right? It's a very common quote, and I'm sure you've heard it before. Some people say it's by Confucius, the famous Chinese philosopher. But it's so important that you choose a job you love, and you will really never feel that you're working. It'll feel like you're going to do something you care about, you love, and it's not going to be like a drudgery, right? So this quote or proverb is what my whole presentation is actually based on. So why choose a job you love? See, first of all, a career spans 40 years or more, right? You start working at 21 or 22, and then you go on till you're 60 or 65. So it's very important to really enjoy that work that you're doing, right? This is not like a vacation where you're going for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. This is something which is going to span the next 40 years of your life. So it better be something which you enjoy doing, something which you care about, because otherwise imagine getting up and going to work every day for the next 40 years. That doesn't sound like fun, right? So it has to be something that you love, that you care about. In fact, many people, they spend more time planning a 2 week vacation than they actually plan a 40-year career. So that should not be the case. So you should choose a job that you care about, that you love. Right. Another reason is you're most likely to succeed if you choose a job that you love. Right? If somebody goes into, say, a career in engineering or in law, or and they're not, that's not an area they care about. Suppose they want to get into design, or suppose they want to get into the arts, and instead they go and they are sitting and writing code in a software company. Are you likely to succeed in that career? Most likely not. Right? So rather choose a career that you love, that you care about, and succeed and do well. Then everything, money, fame, everything will come. Right? So important for that reason. And also, I think the most important reason is to get life satisfaction and contentment. Right? We forget this in that rat race. We really tend to forget this. Now, if, like I said, this career is going to span 40 years of your life, right? So if it's not just about the success and career fulfillment, but also life fulfillment. So I have friends who are in different careers who are very satisfied. So for instance, there's an architect friend of mine, and he says every time he's, suppose he's doing a design, or he's doing a plan or layout, or designing a structure, he says he loses track of time. Right? 3 hours or 4 hours go by, and he doesn't realize, he feels it's half an hour. So that's the kind of satisfaction, joy you can get from your job, right? When does time fly? Time flies when you're enjoying something, when you're immersed in something. So important to be immersed, be engaged in that career. The other thing is also, I have a fashion design friend who she often says that whenever she's designing or doing her sketches and things like that, she feels she's in this meditative state, because it's so, it gives her so much of joy and peace and contentment. So not all of us will go into a meditative state or get into time flying, but definitely we need to find careers which give joy and happiness to us. Right? It's not about which is the most popular career, what's trending, but finding a career which is right for us, which is right for our personality, strengths, skills, and interests. So what is the very first step in the career journey? Right? Understanding of self. Because that's where we start. Because the career will we choose based on who we are as a person. Right? So understanding of self is very, very important. Knowing your own personality, knowing your own interest, your skills and strengths. Now, why is it important to know who we are? Because otherwise, how will we choose the career which is right for us? right? And you know, a lot of people, they look at personality, they look at strengths, values, but the main thing is interests. What are the areas that we are interested in? What are the areas that are meaningful to us? So personality, interests, skills, and values, all these things we should take into account while choosing the right career for us, right? So knowing personality, strengths, interests, this can be done through psychometric assessments. So there are personality tests, then there are you know, career assessments, multiple intelligence, there is you know, this ideal career test, strong interest inventory. So there are many psychometric tests we can use to try and assess what is first of all our personality, what are our strengths, and therefore what is the right career for us. Another way to get an you know, a more in-depth understanding of oneself is journaling. You know, I tell many of my students, when they're in a state of confusion, just, you know, take a paper or take a little notebook and write down every evening for 10-15 minutes, just do journaling, right? Write down you know, what happened in your day, your thoughts about that. Or if you're going through some confusion, just write about it for 10 minutes every day. In 10 or 12 days, you'll get some solutions, you'll get some answers, things will become clearer. So journaling is a great way to understand about yourself. The last point is, of course, ask for feedback, right? So sometimes if we want to get a better understanding of ourselves, what we can do is, you know, talk to our friends and relatives, of course somebody with a certain maturity level. So talk to them and say, you know, this is what I feel about myself, this is what I feel about my nature, my characteristics. Do you think it's right? Do I come across to you in that manner? Right? All this helps you understand who you are better. Now when you ask for feedback, one of the things is, you know, somebody else is giving you feedback may not be exactly right. So take that with a pinch of salt, right? Ask for feedback, but take what is good for you in that, right? Ma'am, at this point, I just want to stop for a second, and can I just ask if they have any questions or any comments on this? Just maybe one or two questions or comments.
Of course, ma'am. If anybody has any question at this point of time, you all can write it down in the chat box, please. Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, like just now you said that about the feedback taken from the elders or people who are like more experienced than us.
Right.
Like, but it sometimes happens, ma'am, like we take the feedback and that feedback is like a stress on us, like it's imposed on us. And we, our thought process, like suppose I don't have a flair for biology, but
Right.
the feedback is that you can become a doctor.
Right.
So,
Right.
ma'am, like in that case, my personality develops in this way that, okay, I have to become a doctor, but I don't like that subject at all.
Right. Right.
So, in that case, ma'am, won't that affect our career options?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I'm talking about feedback, maybe one of the things is, like I said, it should be, you know, you take what you think is good for you. Now, feedback is more about who I am as a person at this stage. So you can say, you know, I think I'm more outgoing. I think you know, I'm analytical. You can ask for feedback for things like that rather than what should I do. I don't, you can ask for what should I do, but also as one understands more and more about themselves, they will know what feedback to take, right? Because somebody can say you do biology and impose it on you, but if you know yourself well, you'll say, I'll die in biology, you know, I mean, I want to be an advertising professional, or I want to get into marketing, because my characteristics say that, you know, I'm outgoing, I have persuasive skills, I you know, I want challenges. I'm not going to be happy if I sit in a hospital, and I'm not saying that's not a noble career, of course it is, but it may not be right for everybody. So as you get to know your personality better, you will be able to take these stands and say, this is right for me and this is not. So you can have a feedback discussion, or you can have a conversation with someone, take what's good in that conversation, what will add value to you, and you can probably nicely tell them, look, this is not for me, right? This does not work for me.
Absolutely.
Does that
Absolutely. Thank you. Ma'am, we have a question from Ayush Kumar Singh.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
he wants to know how to assess our personality.
Right. So these are some of the ways. So one is, start reflecting on yourself. Just like I said, at the end of the day, sit for 10 minutes and see, okay, that thing, what she said, it angered me. Why did it anger me? Write it down, journal about it. So it will start telling you who you are. The way you react to situations, the way you react to people will give you a sense of who you are as a person, right? So that's one way of doing it: journaling, reflecting on your life. So when I say reflecting on your life, I mean, I think somebody is yeah. So when I say reflecting on your life, I mean just sitting for 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, and just journaling, thinking about what happened in the day, why a certain situation happened, etc. Now we also have psychometric tests like personality test, and personality tests, interest tests, skills. So those tests also, in fact, we are very, earlier it was not so great, but now we have some really good tests which give us very, very clear and accurate results about a person's personality. So that's something we can look at as well.
Ma'am, just following what you said just now, there's
Yes.
another question
Yes.
from Shayoni, who wants to know where she can give the psychometry test.
A career counselor. So if she wants, she can get in touch with me later. I can help her with taking a psychometric test that's right for her. Otherwise, if she goes to somebody else, please ask her to ask certain questions. Why are they giving a certain psychometric test? Is it to assess personality and skills? Is it for career assessment? So very important to know why you're doing a personality test. Do you want to understand your personality better? Do you want to choose a career? It's best to do a test which is a combination of personality, interests, and career assessment. So she can meet a career counselor and then they can administer a test. But please ask her to ask certain questions beforehand.
Absolutely, ma'am. She also has another question
Yes.
that we want to be a programmer at Google company, and for
Okay.
that we don't pass in JEE mains. So then what we will do?
Okay. So everybody wants to be a programmer and go.
Yes.
So great. It's good to have aspirations. So there are different. So first of all, I'm going to talk about that later. But there are many different ways to get into a Google or a Facebook or an Amazon or a WhatsApp. Okay, so it's not just the engineering route or the software development route. Google hires students of humanities, they hire artists, they hire illustrators, they hire content creators, right? So if you still want to go and become a software developer, please look at BSc Computer Science and then doing an MCA or an MSc after that. That's another option. But don't become an engineer or a software developer to join Google. Decide what you want to do in your life, and then go that way. But otherwise, to your question, if you don't get JE Advanced, you can also do a BSc Computer Science, and then or even a BSc Math, and look at the data science data science route to get into a company like Google.
So there are innumerable ways to reach the target.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
apart from that, we have to keep in mind that there are other options too. Like if I fail in one, it's not the end of everything.
Sure. And companies like Google are the toughest companies in the world to get into, but good to, like I said, good to have aspirations. They don't look at skill set only, they look at attitude, they look at thinking out of the box, they look at who you are as a person, what you bring to the table apart from just your skills, who you are and how those are the kind of
So
things.
that is again the personality which you develop
Yes,
from your
yes.
childhood. That is what matters the most nowadays.
Yes, absolutely.
Ma'am, another question from Rajiv Lodh. He wants to know that if we don't get a chance for our dream career, what if we don't get a chance for our dream career?
Okay. Meaning, okay, see, there are a couple of things. Now, if you have a dream and you're pursuing it, I think hold that dream. Okay. Sometimes you may not get that chance to, follow that career immediately because of financial reasons, because of other circumstances. But if you have a dream which is something very close to your heart, don't let go of it, is what I would say. Try, for a while, do something else, but keep that with you. Having said this, sometimes the dream can't be I want to get into Google. The dream can be I want to be a great illustrator, I want to be a great software engineer. So keep the dream, make sure what your dream is also realistic, and it makes sense. So if you don't get your dream career, there are always other options. But if it's a dream you feel very strongly about, hold on to it and work on it in little ways, even while you're doing something else, right? I mean, you're always hearing about people who don't succeed the first time round and they try again. Or you hear about this person in the Super 30. He was, he did, where he trained these students for JE, and got them into IITs. Now he wanted to train students. He wanted to be in this teaching line for years, but because his family had financial difficulties, he had to go and sell papad outside. He couldn't pursue his own career, but he held on to that dream, and slowly on the side he built it, and now he's been invited to Cambridge and all sorts of things, right? So you don't have to give up on your dream, work on it, but sometimes practical things come in the way and you have to take that up for the time being. But always go back to what is central to you and what is that core dream. I'll move on, ma'am, and we'll take more questions as we go along.
Okay, ma'am, absolutely. So children, the next questions will be answered in the next slot.
Yeah. Okay, so going a little deeper into, I'm just going to spend a minute on this. I saw this, in another presentation. I thought it was fantastic. So how do you assess yourself? How do you reflect on yourself? Some of the things are a defining moment that has had a lasting impression on you. That'll tell you something about yourself. If something, has had a lasting impression, it's different for everybody. A defining moment is different for everyone. So that's one thing. Key people who influence you, right? It can be somebody in your family, it can be it can be a famous person. Who are those key people who influence you and have an impact on you, right? That books that have influenced you. Now many of the liberal arts colleges have in their in their application forms, they ask about books that you've read, or they have courses on the great books of the past. So books that have influenced you, strengths and characteristics that you appreciate about yourself, right? All these things tell you about your own personality, attitude, or things that anger you, right? So when you reflect, you think, why does something anger me? Why does something upset me? And qualities that you want to develop and change about yourself. So these are just going a little deeper into the reflection part of it. How do you reflect about yourself, right? So just a few things that I put down here. So till now we spoke the first step of the career journey, and that is understanding of ourselves, getting a deeper understanding of personality, of our interests, skills. Now we're going to the other side of it. How do you choose a career? So you need to start by understanding that career also. Now, if I say I want to become a software engineer or a lawyer or a psychologist, I must know what that career is about, right? If I want to become a UI designer, or I want to become say a chemist or anything, so I must understand what that career is about, because otherwise how will I match that to my skills, right? So very important to have a career immersive experience or do a career immersion. Now, this is becoming a buzzword among students and colleges where we're talking about having a career immersion. Now, what is a career immersion? Basically, it means getting a very deeper understanding of that particular career, right? So, if I want to become a lawyer or an architect, what does a lawyer do when he goes into the office or to his studio in the morning? What are the things he does? Does he do sketches or does he talk to people? What are the various activities and tasks of that job? Very important to understand that. How do we understand that? Now we need to research, read articles, watch videos. Now there are a lot of webinars where different career professionals are coming and talking about their career. So please attend those, watch those webinars, read articles online. There are many YouTube videos. If you want to become an economist, there are tons of YouTube videos about from economists talking about their career, right? Then you yourself can speak to people from that profession, right? So I tell many of my students, we don't tap our networks properly, right? But your dad or your mom or your uncle will know somebody who's a lawyer or will know somebody who's a psychologist or an architect. So please tap your networks, ask friends, relatives, family to put you on to people in that particular profession or career and speak to them. And when you go to speak to them, and this is something I tell all my students beforehand, don't waste their time. Beforehand, take a paper and pen, write down the questions you have for that person, right? What do you want to know about that career? And then go and speak to them, ask them those questions, and so then you'll also make best use of it. Then do internships and projects. This is very, very important. When you do an internship, when you actually experience activities and tasks from that career, um, then that's the best way to understand what that career is about. The other ways are also good, but it's a great way if you can get an internship or project in those specific areas. Just to let you know that recently a lot of liberal arts colleges are also doing this career immersion exercise with their students, where they kind of have a lot of industry connects. They send students on internships, not just one summer project or internship, but more than two or three, so that students get a sense of what a particular career about. So this is becoming very, very important to understand deeply what a particular career is about before choosing that career, because many students I know have chosen careers from which they've had to backtrack because they didn't spend time understanding what that career was really about. So they got into that job and then realized that that is not for them. So we don't want that to happen. Moving on to the next, extracurricular activities. Now, this has become very, very critical and important for various reasons. Now, all of us have hobbies or other interests apart from our academics or work, right? So it's important to have these other extracurricular, and why should we have it? Why have an extracurricular activity? So it can be a musical instrument, or it can be music itself, theater, sports, art. So it helps you develop as an individual, right? It helps you grow and develop as an individual. And a lot of times, for instance, now I have a certain hobbies that I pursue, right? But so when my work gets stressful, or sometimes I'm in a state of confusion, how do I solve this problem? I go away and I do that, my hobby, for an hour and come back. And believe you me, my solutions to this problem come to me, right? So extracurricular activities and hobbies have that power, to kind of open your brain and your mind up. So that's a great thing. So it can be a musical instrument, or it can be even community service, right? Now, this is becoming very important for colleges, communities. And I'm telling you, all these things, it's not too early to start. Grade 8 is when you need to start these things, because if you do it in the 11th and 12th, colleges will think that you did this only to get into the college. But so please start these earlier. Do it for 3 or 4 years at least. Okay, so community service, social work. Then your extracurricular activities also give you clues to your career. right? So for instance, there are students who pursue basketball and football, and then they decide that they want to get into sports management because they enjoy sports, right? Or a student may like debates or model United Nation or have an analytical mind, so they will get into law probably. So these kind of things, it really gives you a clue. The projects and the activities that you do give you a strong clue as to the career that you should get into. They teach you real world skills, like, so when you're suppose you're in theater, or you're in a basketball team, for teamwork, negotiation skill, how to handle success, and more importantly, how to handle failure, right? All these skills are taught by your extracurricular activities. Like I said before, it's become very, very important for colleges, not just abroad. Earlier, we were thinking the US only, but now so many colleges in India, ECAs have become a critical part of the college application. So they want to know what are the ECAs that you have pursued, what have you excelled in, why you have pursued it, and it becomes part of the interview process, what you've learned from it, etc. And of course, ECAs build confidence, they build your personality. Things like community service build empathy and compassion, all of these things, right? So definitely a very, very important aspect. Um, so just talking what we talked about, know yourself, know thyself is a famous thing that Socrates said, so I always use that with my students. Know thyself is a important thing. Psychometric tests, research a career well, understand what that career is about so that you can match that career to your personality. Find out what is the scope. Important to know, speak to people to find out what is the scope of that career, future potential. So for instance, right now, and I'm not saying this is a permanent situation, but right now, when we speak to our students, we are saying airline industry, hotel industry is going through a solid downturn, right? Thanks to the COVID situation. So uh, is it wise to get into that career right now? I don't know. Things may change in 6 months, but even if things change, that this industry is going to go through a downturn thanks to what's happening in the world today. So think about those things. Not necessary that you have to completely base your decision on that, but keep in mind those things. So matching personality, interest, skills with career is important. And another thing is start early and spend time to find the right career. I'm going to move on. So why start early and why choose a career according to your individual interests, skills, and personality is, I'm not put down numbers here, but I've just put down examples. Okay, so these are some of the things I've seen. Students, they're doing law and they drop out in the third year and they decide they want to do journalism, right? Or somebody's doing engineering and then they want to get into a liberal arts college and do something completely unrelated. Or a student drops out of a hotel management course and chooses a career in theater. Now, why are all these things happening? Right? It's because this person has not given enough time to think about what is the right career for me, right? Give enough time, and also has not chosen or based on their own interest, skills, and personality. That's very, very, very important, because then you get into that course or career, or people get into jobs and careers, and then they decide they work for 3 years and say, oh my god, this is not for me. I can't do a career in software development because I'm a gregarious person. I want to do something else. Or even more sad is they get into a job or a career where their skills are not being utilized. They have no interest in the job, but they feel it's too late to stay, too late to change. And then they spend 40 years doing that thing where it's a drudgery for them. Right? That work is not pleasant. That work environment is not pleasant because there is no match between who they are and what they're doing. And that's the saddest. At least I think even those who backtrack after 3 years or 2 years, it's better to backtrack and find another career. So let's avoid all of this. Start early, planning, etc. at researching into the right career, into what is right for you as an individual. And then, so that we can avoid it. And this is not to say that people don't change careers. For instance, I started in human resources, I worked in 10 years, and then I got into training and development, and now I'm a career counselor. So jobs and careers do evolve, but mine evolved in a certain direction, right? I wanted to get into other related areas. So that's fine. But, let's not make costly mistakes. So moving on to the next slide. So what are the careers out there? I'm going to just drink a sip of water. Yeah. So what are the careers out there? So, okay, let me go back to this slide. Many people think there are just 5 or 10 good careers, but there are a lot more careers that are there. So we have law, journalism, filmmaking, you can be an economist, social work, hospitality, event management, psychology, social media, content creation. So these are all the careers, and sorry, these are not all, there's lots more. So which is why I put that dot in the end. There are a lot more careers than this: data science, artist. And to the question who that was asked before, you know to join Google, you can be an artist, or you can be a typography person, or you can be an HR person. You don't have to only be a software engineer or a technical person, right? You can be into content creation, you can be into social media, but the top companies, the companies which we aspire to join, they are looking for people who are who are passionate about their work, right? And when will you be passionate about your work? When you do what you love to do, when you do what you enjoy doing, that's when you will be passionate about your work. So choose a career, a line that is right for you. And there are so many career options that are out there now. These are just a few that I've mentioned: web development, blogging, becoming a food critic, getting it, teaching, and I've all now I see my kids at home, and these very patient teachers, and I really say, my God, hats off to all you teachers. The amount of patience and care and commitment, it's a noble career. Please look at teaching as a career. And now teaching is not just teaching in schools, because like some you hear of white hat junior teachers are also getting different kinds of jobs, right? And also to mention, now I've mentioned all these jobs, but each of these jobs have subdivisions, right? If we talk about it, hospitality has, like, so many other options underneath that. Again, retail has other options. Content creation can mean different things. Journalism, again, is split up into different areas. Law has so many different areas. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of career options that are out there. So it's not just about a handful of careers. There are newer careers in humanities, arts, commerce, which have become very sought after, and they're truly making waves, right? When you hear of Silicon Valley and the top, and now entrepreneurship has become also, a big thing. So the top entrepreneurs are not just techies or technology people, but they are people from humanities, they're people from different walks of life, and they are really being very, very successful, and along the way. So be aware of the options that are out there. Just to summarize, there are many careers. Do your research, take your time to find out what's there, and then choose which of those careers is right for you as an individual. There's no one right career. It depends on your own individual traits and personality. Thank you. So questions now, more questions. And
lots waiting, ma'am.
yeah.
The first one is a very interesting one. That's the child wants to pursue for rehabilitation engineering.
Okay.
After how to pursue rehabilitation engineering after completing BTech in biomedical engineering.
Okay, so that is a very specific question. Maybe she can ask me, because we can go with more generic questions related to this webinar. So I'll take that specifically from her later, but we can go into more.
Okay, ma'am, there's a question like about the future of the software developing industry. Like, how much future is there?
Okay,
Questions have dropped in from this area.
okay. Software industry is definitely here to stay, but there's also a lot of competition. So if you look at computer science, engineering, it's the most sought after course among all the engineering courses, right? So there is a lot of competition in this space. But having said that, please go for it if that's what, if coding is what you love, if you enjoy software programs, writing code, so please go for that. But do understand there is a lot of competition in that area, but software is definitely, it's there. There's a lot of scope for getting into software development.
Ma'am, I just want to frame one question which a child has posed. Like, previously, the child was like, this happens with many. Like, the child first loves science subjects, and then with higher classes, that interest completely goes, and there's an affinity for humanities. And then the child is completely confused that what to do now. Like, what should I choose?
Right.
So, like, how should the child handle the situation when such a confusion arises?
Okay, which class would this child be in? Any idea?
Um, Ma'am, the children here are from class 8, 9, and 10.
8, 9, and 10. Yeah, I know. But okay. So see, if it's in the 8th or 9th that you're having this confusion, perfectly normal. And even in the 10th, actually, see, it is confusing. One is because there are a lot of options out there. The other thing is, I go back to my what I said about understanding personality and skills and strengths. So uh, engineering is quite science is a different field and humanities is a different field. And if you understand who you are as a person, it becomes easier to choose which stream to go for, right? What are your skills, what are your strengths? So one is, please delve deeper into your own personality. So don't look outside for starters. Okay, delve deeper into your own personality and say, who am I? What are my skill strengths? Then after that, look at a few careers if you choose humanities, right? What are so it's not about choosing humanities or science only, but what is it going to lead to? Right. So if you take humanities, then you're talking about psychology, you're talking about law, you're talking about various hotel management. So these are the careers. If you take PCM, then it's leading to a certain number of careers. So look a little deeply into those careers. Is that, where do you want to be? So depending on that, you can choose your stream, because the stream selection is based on where you want to be in your career, what you want to do later. So get an understanding of those careers. What are the careers that excite you? So then work backwards and choose the stream based on that.
Absolutely. Children, there are, I think I saw few questions which are quite common here, like which career to choose. I don't like to see dead bodies, but I want to become a doctor. And I think ma'am has already told us clearly that everything depends on our personality.
Right.
And we have to do a lot of homework before choosing the career, right, ma'am?
Yes, absolutely.
Ma'am, another good question has come up. Like this COVID issue, how much does COVID issue affect career opportunities for the next 5 years?
Okay, so that's a tricky one. I think it's, a lot of people are being very optimistic and saying, oh, it'll go away and then, things will go back to normal. I don't think so. It it's going to affect our economy for sure, the kind of jobs that come up. But, I think it's important to still, I mean, stick with your plan, go ahead, because if you, like I said, if you do something you're passionate about, that you care about, you will find your niche. You will find your slot where you are good at, and you'll get hired. Okay, it is going to affect definitely, like the hotel industry. Recently, somebody was talking to me, and they are in VIP, the VIP suitcases. So that industry has been hit because people are not traveling. So there are consequences, which are reaching different parts, which we're not foreseeing as yet. So it is bleak, but it will pass. Maybe for a year or two, things are going to be tough. Luckily for you kids, y'all are still studying, and by the time y'all finish your education, hopefully this whole thing has blown over. So for them, for grade students of 8th, 9th, and 10th, hopefully 3 years, 4 years down the line, when y'all come out of the into the job market, it should not affect you too much. But so I feel for students who are finishing college this year and next year, it's going to be a very tough situation.
Absolutely, ma'am. Like another thing is that children, those who are like, ma'am has already told us clearly, those who are, asking personal questions like, what should I pursue? How should I pursue? Uh, of course, ma'am will tell us how to contact her at the end of this session. So please get in touch with her and she will clear all your doubts. The general questions, it's better we entertain those questions. Another question, ma'am, how to face the interview board?
Okay. So interview board for colleges, I'm assuming, for college applications. Is that
Right, right, ma'am.
yeah, so that's something which is very important, because many of these colleges, interview has become very, very critical part. So you they have an entrance test, they have an essay which you have to submit, but the interview is where they assess who you are as a person, what are your skills, strengths, and what you bring to the table. So now colleges are also assessing how other students in their course can learn from you. So do you have something to offer? So very important, if you want to face the interview, first thing you'll do is put down your resume. Okay, so Microsoft Word, there are many formats. Like you can take Microsoft Word, you can download a format from the web, and then write down your academics, your marks in, say, 8th, 9th, 10th. Write down your extracurricular activities, which are the top 2 or 3 extracurricular activities you're pursuing. Then write a line or two about your own personality, your skills, your strengths, who you are as a person. Now once you've created, also please write down achievements, awards, one. Now once you've created this resume, you take it to a friend, or you take it to a relative who you trust, and say, you sit with me and you ask me questions as if this is an interview. Practice that interview, it's important. So great way to face interviews is to practice interviews. So sit in front of someone who can ask you, okay, what did you learn from this activity? What are the challenges you faced? Why is this your favorite subject? What do you like about this subject? Also, please read newspapers, be aware of current affairs. Just understand, know what's happening in the world around you and have an opinion on it. Right? They're not just asking you what is happening in America right now, but you must have an opinion about who you want to win that election and why. Right? So these are some of the things you can do. And then finally, in the interview process, be yourself. Right? Relax and be yourself, because they want they want to help you. So they want to see your best side, and they want to just see who you are. And when we try to be something else, it comes out all wrong. So just relax, be yourself, and it'll go fine, I think. Yeah.
So children, I think most of your questions are answered. And one thing which I understood, that is, whichever career you pursue, it has to be the career of your choice. Now,
Yes.
whether you will be successful ultimately, like in terms of money, in terms of earning or not, that you have to decide, because at the end of the day, it's your, mental, joy and your physical joy. So physically, if you are like you're going to the office, and as ma'am has said, 40 years doing a job which you don't want to pursue, or mentally you want to remain happy with the job, is the main thing. Ultimately, how much money you earn at the end of the day matters, but not as much as mental satisfaction it gives us. Right, ma'am?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so with that, ma'am, we have come to the end of the questions. Ma'am, will you please now tell us how the children can contact you personally?
Yes. Shall I just put it, in the chat box or something? Do you want me to do my
Right, ma'am. Right, ma'am.
just, just 1 second, please. I'm trying to access the chat box. Sorry. Okay. Otherwise, shall I just write it here? Hold on, please. I'm not. So I'm just writing it here. 0389783 or Nina at careercityguide.com.
So that's the email ID of
Yes.
Miss Nina Mukherjee. Please note it down, children, and all the personal questions which you all have, you all can contact ma'am. Even ma'am has given the phone number.
Yes.
So please note it down, children. Questions like whether we can join Navy without entrance examination, or I want to become an actress, how to pursue it. These are all personal questions, and ma'am will surely answer your questions. Please mail her, or you can talk to her. The phone number is given, and the questions will be answered. So with that, ma'am, we are coming to the end of this session. On behalf of St. Augustine's Day School, Barrackpur and Shamnagar, I want to thank you, ma'am, for spending such a valuable time with us. Your speech has rightly cleared the concept of career to all of us, ma'am. We really need to choose the right career and the job we like. Very truly said, we need to enjoy the job. And along with success, we need to handle failures too. A very big thank you to you, ma'am, and all present here. So with that, we end the session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Miss Neela, you have to leave the meeting because you are the host now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
don't do end for all. Just you may leave the meeting. Then the host, or you can transfer the host access to us.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm just trying to go into the big screen. 1 sec. Sorry, just.
You have to toggle to stop screen.
I know somehow I'm in this small screen. Just 1 second.
It must have gone on the top.
Yes. 1 second. Why is it not becoming a big screen? Wait, let me just 1 sec. Let me stop. Now I stopped the share. So I will just have to leave the meeting, right? It's only giving me the option of end actually.
End for all.
Yeah, it just says end. The option of leave is
So if
not.
you click, okay, if you do end, it will say only end or end for all.
Okay. Leave meeting. Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. 1 sec. I'll just assign.
Where did